everybody, happy Thursday and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be discussing breaking news in regards to Navalny and the trajectory and what actually is happening in Russia pertaining to his case. I promise you for it to be very interesting and very revealing. Everybody knows Navalny was poisoned August 20th. He fell ill during his flight from Siberia to Moscow. The plane had to be diverted. He was treated for a few days in Omsk, and then he was transferred to charity clinic in Germany for additional treatment and testing. There is an allegation that Navalny was poisoned. The French lab and also other independent labs in Western Europe confirmed that he was poisoned with a variant of Novichok. So this is the information that's already readily available everywhere, but let's look even closely. The individual in charge of Navalny's investigation on what happened from the Russian side is actually Lugovoy. The name maybe does not ring a bell for a lot of people, but let's look who Lugovoy actually is. So let's start first at FSB. FSB has been trailing and investigating Navalny for the past 10 years. The first time Navalny came into their view is during 2008-2009 timeframe. At the time, Navalny was a blogger and he did investigative pieces pertaining corruption. So what he actually did, he would purchase small stock in different Russian government corporations, then he would attend certain meetings and demand clarity and disclosure. So this is how originally FSB started looking at him. And specifically, he was tasked to be looked at by FSB's Department K. What is FSB Department K? It was created in 1999. The first leader of that department was Jabarov, and in 2006 he went to work for a different department within FSB. So what does Department K do? It investigates corruption, bank, border, even certain portions of terrorism. It is a very strong body within FSB. But at the same time, the lesser known function that is obviously not disclosed to the public or public pays attention to, it is Kremlin's enforcer. It is one of the structures that would enforce any type of scenarios that Kremlin needs. So indirectly or directly to Putin, his closest and very high-ranking Kremlin officials. So Department K is the one that was trailing and investigating Navalny for majority of the time. Additionally, Lugovoy was investigated by the Department K in 2001. This will be a very pivotal and important information. And the reason for investigation for Lugovoy at the time is he was helping Glushkov, allegedly tried to leave Russia. Glushkov was one of the important figures within Aeroflot and close friend of Berezovsky. As everybody aware, Berezovsky had to go in exile to UK. So he was arrested in 2001 and Glushkov was investigated by Department K and he stayed imprisoned until 2004 and he was released. This is where it gets very interesting. It seems that while in custody he started working with FSB because in 2006 he met with Litvinenko in UK and UK government believes this is who poisoned Litvinenko with polonium. As everybody aware, Litvinenko died a horrendous death. And now Lugovoy is in charge of investigating situation with Navalny and his poisoning. Coincidence? Yes or no? This is a very odd trajectory. Let's get a little bit even further into a whole discussion about this. Obviously, Lugovoy is not observed being in Tomsk at the same time as Navalny, and also Lugovoy now has a very high position, so he would not be enforcer of anything. It's still not determined if it was enforcement by Kremlin that Navalny got poisoned or someone close to them. That information is hearsay at this point. But nevertheless, there is a video that appeared on Navalny's Instagram today, his channel. Navalny is still in a hospital and charity is aware, but his crew is working very hard to provide as many details as possible. So this video shows everything that the staff was able to take out of Navalny's hotel room Xander where he was staying. They had a group reservation of people. Navalny left on the 20th. The group was originally slated to leave the following day. At the same time, they heard that Navalny got ill on a flight, and they immediately were able to pursue the hotel staff before they knew poisoning appeared to retrieve some of the personal belongings that allegedly were left behind in Navalny's room. So they were able to keep a bottle or anything that he possibly touched and contain it. And because there's a pandemic of coronavirus, they were already wearing gloves, so there was no additional fingerprints for his crew that were added to his belongings. And one of the key evidence is the bottle that was actually retrieved by his staff that Navalny drank from this morning. It is not alleged that the bottle was, and the water in the bottle was poisoned, but nevertheless, this is something he touched in the room. And fortunately, due to his staff effort and personal belongings that traveled with him to Germany, this is how that bottle got into the hands of German government, and that's how the test revealed that there was Novichok variant on that bottle. So clearly, Navalny would have been poisoned in the hotel room. The tapes of the hotel room Xanders that anything happened or anybody entered his room are in possession of Russian police and Russian government. Obviously, I'm sure FSB already has those tapes. So that information Navalny's group could not find. They could not, because the timing of it, FSB and police started entering Xander Hotel, they were not able to get to the surveillance tapes to realize who entered Navalny's room during his trip. This is one of the key factors. That is the reason why Russia has been asking where the bottle came from and all this information. Of course, the Russian theory is that one of Navalny's staff, who is actually a UK national, she's the one who possibly could have poisoned him, which is not true. So this leads to a very serious topic and very interesting one, the connection between Litvinenko and Lugovoy. I admit, even myself, when I originally heard about Navalny falling ill, there could have been so many scenarios. It does not necessarily mean poisoning or Novichok, and until more facts come out, I was a little skeptical what actually happened to him. But after discovering all this information and Lugovoy connection and how UK accuses him, in Russia there's no such thing as coincidences. There's no way that suddenly Lugovoy was first arrested, then accused of poisoning Litvinenko, and suddenly he's investigating Navalny's case. I'm not saying that FSB K department did it, but FSB's K department would be the one, if such activities were carried out by Russia, they would be the ones who would be actually in charge of such project. We're not saying exactly, or anybody saying that it is FSB. It could have been an agent. There could have been a lot of factors. That trajectory, obviously, I do not know, and that information hardly or even ever will be available because it happened on Russian soil. The investigation would have a lot of roadblocks, and Russian government investigation, who trusts that, especially what exactly happened. Even though in one way, Navalny does not pose a huge risk to Kremlin as far as his political activity, because right now he only secured 6 seats out of the whole election, for example, in State Dumas that occurred over the past weekend, but nevertheless, he's been a thorn at the government side. There's also criminal charges that have been added to him right now. Obviously, they're halted, but Russia always tries to do everything. But poisoning is one of preferred methods since Soviet days in regards to Kremlin foes. So especially given right now the connection to Litvinenko and the same key figures, it is highly likely that Navalny was poisoned by the state actors. What is even more interesting and of course expected, Russian foreign mission released 9 questions to EU pertaining the case of Navalny. And the questions include about the bottle, which is obviously, I answered that question in my video even before that. The other question was, why is Russia not offered to be co-investigating with Germany? Well, the answer is that Germany does not owe that to Russia, and especially if, in fact, which it seems to be true, that Navalny was poisoned by a Novichok nerve agent, which is clearly chemical and biological warfare, let's call it what it is. Why would Germany want to cooperate with Russia? Especially everybody would understand that such substances, the only people who have access to it are state actors. This is not readily available in the market, even on the black market. It's impossible for any type of private individual to get their hands on it. And even if they did, hypothetically speaking, in order to know how to use it and apply it due to the dangers and toxicity and everything else involved, it's impossible. So it has to be state actors involved in this operation. And what is even scarier, Navalny wants to return to Russia. According to NYT, of course, Navalny has not publicly given any interviews yet because he's clearly still not in the condition to do so. There was a first post appeared and a picture that he's having high spirits and he's even joking, but nevertheless, that's still a long process with something like that. So given all that and given the connection, what do you think the next steps should be in regards to Russia? Yes, there's a discussions within the EU to immediately impose sanctions, but do sanctions actually work? Look what happened with Litvinenko, Skripal, sanctions. They're still not exactly deterring Russia from continuing to do such activities in the Kremlin. The only question remains, why in this day and age and we live in, why do we need to do such things? Why is in the world Russia wants to poison people and technically gets away with it, including foreign soil? In this case, Navalny was poisoned on Russian soil, but on foreign soil, this is very dangerous because innocent people can get hurt and have been hurt in case of Skripal and in case of others too. What anything means necessary because somebody's a Kremlin's foe, it is very scary and horrible. But given the information I gave in this video, and I'm hoping EU and US takes a closer look at everything that's occurring and do their first investigations and look at the key figures and draw the connections. I'm also hoping such investigative places like Bellingcat will possibly get involved because they were very familiar and were very successful in uncover a lot of information pertaining to Skripal, pertaining to poisoning in Bulgaria. So hopefully this case will be interesting to them as well and they could do more thorough investigation. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Please click like, subscribe to my channel, and also you can read my articles under Kristina Kitova, communalnews.com. Thank you for watching, everybody.